Hello students, how are you all? Hope so all of you are fine and happy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Biology in Seconds. Today we will discuss the conjunction. Let's start.
We are at the whiteboard, and as I have told you in the intro, today we are going to discuss conjunction. Conjunction, we all know, conjunctions are used to join two words, phrases, or sentences. यही इनका बेसिक पर्पस होता है. इसको आप याद रख सकते हो फ्रॉम द वर्ड junction. What is junction? It is basically a meeting point of so many different lines. ठीक है, आप रेलवे जंक्शन कहते हो तो वो भी क्या होता है? That is actually an intersecting point of so many different lines. तो वहाँ से आप याद रख सकते हो कि वो भी क्या है, एक इकट्ठ है, एक कह लें कि एक ग्रुपिंग है. सो यहाँ भी कंजंक्शन जो है वो क्या करता है? It basically relates, it basically connects the two different words, different phrases, or even different sentences. When we talk about types of conjunctions, there are three major types. The first one is called coordinating conjunctions. The second one are called subordinate conjunctions, and the third one is correlative conjunctions. Now, if I further categorize these types, coordinating conjunctions are often called by an acronym that is FANBOS. So इससे आप इसको याद रख सकते हैं, where F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y is for yet, and S is for so. But remember, these are not the only coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are actually the conjunctions, they actually join the two words, clauses, or phrases of equal importance. That is why they are called coordinating. That none of the clause or phrase is actually subordinate. उनमें से कोई भी जो है वो dependent नहीं होती, दोनों ही equal level की चीज़ें होती हैं. That is why they are called coordinating conjunctions. For example, if I say day or night, both are of equal importance. For example, मैं कहूँ bread and butter, or if I say good and evil. So you can see that both these conjunctions are representing or they are joining the two things which are of equal importance. दोनों की जो है importance अपनी अपनी जगह पे same है. Then फिर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं clauses और phrases में भी इसको देख लेते हैं. He was staying here but his brother wanted him to go abroad. Now you can see that both these clauses are of equal importance. That is why they are called coordinating conjunctions. And if I talk about the subdivisions of coordinating conjunctions, they are divided into 4 types. लिख भी देता हूँ. The very first one is coupletive or cumulative conjunctions. I.e. and. Now and coupletive, it is very evident from its meaning that it is actually joining, it is coupling the two things. दो चीज़ों को क्या करेगी? मिला देगी. ठीक है. इसके अलावा not only और but also भी हो सकता है इसी में. ठीक है, लेकिन वो हम आगे correlative conjunction में जाके करेंगे. So anything that is actually merging the two things, that is actually coupling the two things, that will be called coupletive or cumulative conjunctions. Second one is called alternative or disjunctive conjunctions, i.e. or. अब और क्या है? It is giving us an alternative. It is basically disjoining two things, either or, वो भी इसी में आ जाएगा, but that is already that we shall discuss in correlative conjunction. Here is the example, day or night. We are giving an option, we are building an alternative. तो इसको हम क्या कहते हैं? Alternative or disjunctive conjunctions कहते हैं. Then we say adversative conjunctions, i.e. but. Adversative conjunction क्या है? That actually presents the opposite phenomena. As I have told you, he was staying here, but his brother wanted him to go abroad. अब but क्या कर रहा है? उस पहले वाली statement की क्या कर रहा है? Negation कर रहा है. That is why adverse से आप याद रख सकते हो. Adverse opposition को हम कहते हैं ना. तो adversative, that is actually presenting the opposite phenomena. दो different phenomena, बिल्कुल opposite phenomena जो होंगे उनको join करेंगे. And finally, we have elative conjunctions, i.e. for or so. Yet can also be added here. Elative conjunctions, they actually add a reason, they add an explanation, I should say. That is why they are called elative. Elative means that is elaborating something. So they actually elaborate the concept which was discussed in the previous class. For example, he was not feeling well, so he decided not to play the final. Now this is actually elaborating that why he decided not to play the final, because he was not feeling well. So ये है coordinating conjunction के different types. Now these types are important because specifically in nums you are often asked such questions that they will underline the word or and they'll give you these four options, and the question will be, what is the type of this conjunction? Cumulative, alternative, adversative or elative? And you'll have to answer it. So considering nums, these questions are very important, and even in the last 2-3 years PMC has also asked such questions. So be very careful while dealing with those. Now let's come to the next two types, subordinate conjunctions and correlative conjunctions. Now as far as the subordinate conjunctions are concerned, they are actually used to join independent and dependent clauses. इसमें कोई एक चीज़, एक क्लॉज डेफिनेटली ऐसी होती है जो क्या होती है, इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होती है, और दूसरी जो है वो क्या होती है, डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होती है. एंड बिकॉज वन ऑफ द क्लॉज इज डिपेंडेंट, और यू मे से subordinate, both mean the same thing, that is why we call them subordinate conjunctions. These conjunctions are also divided into different types. और वो types कौन सी हो सकती हैं? The very first one is conjunctions of time, and they include, the most common are after, before, etc. So these are conjunctions of time. If I say after he had taken a bath, he went to his office. Now you can clearly see that here this particular clause is a subordinate clause, and our main clause is actually, or main clause, or you may say dependent clause, is he went to his office. This particular clause is only defining the time of that main clause, and that is why we call this particular conjunction conjunction of time. Got it? तो ये तो होगी conjunction of time. Then we have second one, that is called conjunctions of reason, i.e. because ये क्या है, ये reason को explain कर रही है. If I say he could not come to school because he was not feeling well, तो because he was not feeling well is actually a subordinate clause. In the same way, we have conjunctions of concession. That is again a very important part, and the most common one are although, though. If I say although he is ill, लिख ही देता हूँ, although he is ill, he will go for the tour. Now, although here is a concession कि है तो सही, but फिर भी इसके बावजूद भी क्या करेगा, वो हमारे साथ चलेगा. ठीक हो गया? That is why we call it conjunctions of concession. The next one is conjunctions of comparison, i.e. than. You all know that than is used to compare the two things. He is taller than his brother. Now we are actually comparing the two objects, and we are using conjunction of comparison, that is than. Next, conjunctions of condition, i.e., if, only if. Now, these are very common. If and only if, you have read it a lot. I say, if he asks me, I shall help him. Now, I am putting a condition कि अगर वो ऐसा करेगा, only then the second clause will hold true. That is why they are called conjunctions of condition. Next, चलते हैं. Conjunction of place, i.e., where, wherever, etc. Now, these are called conjunctions of place. Let's have an example because they are normally not used commonly. I'll go with him wherever he goes. So, wherever, it is actually a conjunction of place. And finally, we have conjunctions of result or consequence. Now, what are they? You say resultantly, consequently. So, these are all different types of subordinate conjunctions. Now, finally, we are moving to correlative conjunctions. They are the most important ones. Why? Because majority of the errors regarding conjunctions are basically constructed or they are basically formulated using correlative conjunctions. They are always used in pairs. That is why they are called correlative. एक दूसरे को क्या कह रही होती हैं? Reciprocate कह रही होती हैं. That is why we call them correlative. Individually भी use हो सकती हैं, but when they'll be used individually, they will not be considered correlative conjunctions. For example, we say neither nor. Now it is a pair. We say either or. We say not only but also, etc. All these conjunctions are used in pairs, and that is why we call them correlative conjunctions. So hopefully the different types of conjunctions are very clear to you. Now we are moving towards the errors of all these conjunctions. Let's students, and now we are moving to our errors, and I've told you that the most frequently the questions are asked related to correlative conjunctions. Let me know, bachcho. Now we are discussing the errors, the possible errors that you may face in your Mdcat. And the very first thing we are going to discuss regarding the possible errors are correlative conjunctions. मैंने पहले भी आपको बताया कि ज़्यादातर errors जो हैं वो आपको correlative conjunctions में ही आएंगे. And the first thing we are discussing is not only. Now, majority of the people will tell you that not only can only be followed by but also. Yes, this is true, but this is half truth, because it is not necessary at all that not only will always be followed by but also. No, it can be followed by any other word that shows addition, because not only का मतलब होता है ना सिर्फ ये, आपने यहाँ क्या करना होता है, बल्कि ये भी. ठीक है, तो ये जो ये भी है that actually shows addition. So any word that actually describes or that depicts addition can be used with not only. So it is not compulsory कि हर बार but also ही आएगा. इसके अलावा भी और बहुत सारे words जो है वो आ सकते हैं. For example, you can use but even. अब यहाँ पर but also नहीं आएगा. फिर but के साथ आप यूज कर सकते हो itself. अगेन यहाँ भी आप देख रहे हो कि but also जो है वो नहीं आ रहा, बल्कि but itself आ रहा है. Then you can use to as well, and then you can also use as well. Now all these words you can guess very easily that all these words are actually showing addition. और not only का मतलब ही यही है कि not only के बाद you need to use a word that actually shows addition, कि ना सिर्फ ये बल्कि ये भी. तो वो जो addition है उसको depict करने, that addition can be depicted by the use of also, even, itself, to, as well, or any other word that you can think of. So पहली चीज तो आप ये देख लें. इसके एग्जाम्पल्स कुछ मैं आपके साथ शेयर कर देता हूं. He is such a nice guy that not only his fellows but even his rivals appreciate him. Now I have not used also. Instead, I have used but even. because the purpose was not to use also. Also is actually used to show addition, and if that addition can be shown by using even, it is good enough. एक also वाली एग्जाम्पल भी देखते हैं. Not only have our ways of living changed, but people themselves have also been changed. This is a line from your text, and here I am using also for the sake of addition. So एक चीज तो आप ये ध्यान में रख लें. Even let's talk about 2. This Chinese social experiment does not only concern Asia but the West too. So here you can see that we have used 2 to show addition. So it is not the matter of also. It can be used, but problem ये है कि असल चीज़ आपने ये देखनी है कि there must be some word that shows addition. Secondly, if not only is used at the start of the sentence, it will be treated as quasi-negative adverb and will be followed by inversion. तो इसके बाद क्या लगेगा? इसके बाद obviously inversion जाएगी ही जाएगी. जैसे quasi-negative adverb, we have already discussed in the topic adverb that if they are used at the start of the sentence, they will be followed by helping verb. And here I have already given you the example. Not only have our ways of living changed, that is why we are using a helping verb, because not only at the start of the sentence will signify or will be treated as quasi-negative adverb, or quasi-negative adverbs के बाद we know that we follow inversion. Inversion means कि हम helping verb पहले ले आते हैं और we treat that statement not as an affirmative sentence, we treat that statement as interrogative sentence. So ये एक आपने इसके बारे में ख्याल रखना है. Then next one is neither nor and on the parallel we have either और ये दो different आपके quasi negative adverbs हैं. We know that both these correlative conjunctions are used for two persons, but there is a difference. Neither nor is used for negation, while either or is used for affirmation. If I say he is neither a good writer nor a good poet. ठीक है, तो मैं दोनों को निगेट कर रहा हूँ कि वो ना ही अच्छा राइटर है और ना ही अच्छा पोएट है. On the other hand, if I say he can hire either a good writer or a good poet for his drama. कि है चॉइस ही, बट इट इज बेसिकली फॉर अफर्मेशन कि वो कर सकता है. ठीक है, कि या तो वो अच्छा एक राइटर हायर कर सकता है या एक अच्छा पोएट हायर कर सकता है, या हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि वो नहीं कर सकता. Here we are affirming that he can do it. So that is the core difference. But there is another difference as well. Neither if used at the start of a sentence will be followed by inversion. अगर ये भी सेंटेंस के स्टार्ट में होगा तो इट विल बी ट्रीटेड एज अ क्वासी नेगेटिव एडवर्ब. ठीक है, और इसके एग्जांपल मैं आपके लिए लिख देता हूँ. यू मस्ट हैव रेड दैट, if that is our option alpha, you must have read that in your FSC. Neither he reads nor writes, and the beta option is neither does he read nor does he write. And you always wonder why we are using this particular sentence structure and why we are using this helping verb, because ये कोई क्वेश्चन स्टेटमेंट तो है ही नहीं, इंट्रोगेटिव स्टेटमेंट तो है ही नहीं. देन व्हाई आर वी यूजिंग द हेल्पिंग वर्ब बिफोर both these clauses? The reason is because neither is used at the start, and if it is used at the start of the sentence, it will be followed by inversion or it will be treated as quasi negative adverb. ठीक हो गया? अब तीसरी चीज वो इन दोनों के लिए सेम ही है, both will be followed by same and same goes for either or. Both of them will be followed by same part of speech. अगर इधर के बाद नाउन है तो और के बाद भी क्या लगेगा, नाउन. अगर नीदर के बाद नाउन है तो नॉर के बाद भी क्या लगेगा, नाउन. ठीक है, यहां देखें जैसे मैंने कहा ही कैन हायर ईदर, क्या था, ईदर के बाद आर्टिकल, तो और के बाद भी क्या आएगा, आर्टिकल. यहां भी नीदर के बाद क्या था, आर्टिकल, तो नॉर के बाद भी हमने क्या यूज किया, आर्टिकल. यही वजह है कि जब हमने नीदर के बाद डज यूज किया तो नॉर के बाद भी हमने क्या यूज किया, नॉर के बाद भी डज यूज किया. बिकॉज आफ्टर नीदर वी वर यूजिंग हेल्पिंग वर्ब, तो नॉर के बाद भी क्या यूज होगा, ऑब्वियसली विल गो फॉर हेल्पिंग वर्ब. एक एग्जांपल आपको करवाता हूं. फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई से he neither reads nor writes, and the beta option is he neither reads nor he writes. Now the second sentence, beta, apparently it has no trouble at all, it has no problem at all. But the problem is, neither के बाद we are using a verb, and after nor we are actually using a pronoun. So this arrangement will not be considered the correct arrangement, and that is why our correct option is option alpha. He neither reads nor writes, because here neither is followed by verb and nor is also followed by verb. So अब हम इसके बाद आगे बढ़ते हैं और देखते हैं कि बाकी कोरिलेटिव कंजंक्शंस हमारी कौन सी हैं. ले मेरे बेटे नेक्स्ट कुछ कोरिलेटिव कंजंक्शंस करते हैं. एंड द वेरी फर्स्ट वन वी आर डूइंग इज सेम. नाउ सेम can have different combinations. We can use that, and we can also use as. So now the question is when to use that and when to use as far as same is concerned. That is used for restrictive clauses, while as is used for as is used for comparison. ये एक बेसिक कोर डिफरेंस है. वी हैव रेड दैट कॉन्सेप्ट इन आवर प्रोनाउन, रिलेटिव प्रोनाउन. जब हम विच, हु और दैट का कॉन्सेप्ट कह रहे थे, तो आई टोल्ड यू दैट दैट इज यूज्ड फॉर restrictive clauses, and because while using same we actually restrict that next clause ना, उसको restrict कर देते हैं. because जब आपने same कह दिया, मैंने आपको example भी दी थी कि आप अम्मा आपको दुपट्टे डाई कराने के लिए भेजती हैं या आप कभी उनके साथ जाएं, तो वो जो डायर होता है उसको वो दुपट्टे का और कमीज का रंग जो है वो साथ रख के बिल्कुल बता रही होती हैं कि भाई सेम टू सेम ये कलर कर दें. ठीक है, हालांकि वो बंदा बेचारा बता भी रहा होता है कि नहीं आंटी वो शिफॉन है दुपट्टा और कमीज खदर की है, तो नहीं इनका कलर सेम नहीं आएगा डाई होने के बाद. बट स्टिल वो क्या कह रही होती, दे कीप ऑन एम्फसाइजिंग कि भाई सेम टू सेम कलर हमें चाहिए. ठीक है, तो वो सेम हम क्यों कह रहे हैं, बिकॉज वी आर एक्चुअली restricting that phenomena. और जब भी restrictive clause आएगी तो obviously will go for that. Examples देख लेते हैं. He is the same boy as helped me, and then he is the same boy that helped me. Now you can see the clear-cut difference here. That helped me is a restrictive clause. ना, he is the same boy. ये बिल्कुल वही लड़का है. कौन सा? We are restricting that boy. That is why हम same के साथ क्या use कर रहे हैं? Here we are using that and not as. Got it? So ये तो आपने देख लेना है. Then as is used for comparison. जब हम compare कर रहे होते हैं तो फिर हम क्या use करते हैं? As use करते हैं. एग्जाम्पल देखिएगा. A teacher needs the same diagnostic ability as possessed by a physician. Here we are actually comparing the two things. Okay, the diagnostic ability of a teacher and of a physician. So here we are actually comparing the two things कि उसकी diagnostic ability भी वैसी ही होनी चाहिए जैसी किसकी है, जैसी के टीचर की है. So यहाँ हम क्या use करेंगे, यहाँ हम as use करेंगे, and here because it was a non-restrictive clause, that is why we were using that. तो same और that में ये एक core difference मौजूद है. The next one is so. Now so can also have different combinations, like we can use that, we can have as well. ठीक है, so के साथ that भी आ सकता है और so के साथ as भी आ सकता है. That will be used for explanation and as will be used for comparison. That is the core difference between the two. The quack labored away with all his might, but the ground was so stiff that he made slow progress. So here you can clearly tell so stiff, and this particular clause actually explains the stiffness. How stiff? It was so stiff that he made slow progress. So इस तरह से जब भी आप explain करेंगे किसी चीज को तो you will use that with so. एक और इसी की एग्जाम्पल कर लेते हैं. They travel through a universe so immense that it is a very rare event for a star to come anywhere near to another. Now here you can also tell very easily so immense. How much? उसकी explanation है that it is a very rare event for a star to come anywhere close to another star. So this is how we use that with so when we want to actually explain a thing. Next देखते हैं इसी कहीं के comparison कब आएगा. There is nothing shameful as to be called a liar. Now here we are not explaining कि कोई भी चीज, there are so many things to be shameful, but nothing is as shameful as to be called a liar. So यहाँ हम so के साथ क्या use कर रहे हैं? So के साथ हम use कर रहे हैं as use कर रहे हैं. But एक चीज याद रखिएगा, this combination is always used for negation. negate करने के लिए इस्तेमाल होता है, कभी भी affirmation में जो है वो इस्तेमाल नहीं होगा. जैसे वो कहते हैं nothing so shameful, कोई भी चीज़ इतनी shameful नहीं है as to be called a liar, तो reverse में इस्तेमाल होगा. Then एक और एग्जाम्पल इसकी देखते हैं. As a matter of fact, its customs were not so silly As you suppose, here again we are drawing a comparison that their customs were not socially as you suppose इतनी खराब नहीं थी जैसे जितनी के तुम समझ रहे हो. तो यहाँ भी हम क्या कह रहे हैं? We are actually negating. So this combination can be used, but this will always be used for negation, not for affirmation. So ये दूसरा comparison है. Then we have the same thing for such. Now such, just like same or so, it can also be followed by that and as well. Reason यहाँ पे भी वही होगी. Explanation आएगी तो we'll use that. And for comparison, we use as. You have often read that in your FSC, he is such a boy who is liked by all teachers. Now it is not a restrictive clause. We are actually comparing such boys with him. ये comparison है कि वो ऐसा लड़का है कैसा जैसे लड़के टीचर्स को पसंद होते हैं. So it is a comparison, not a restrictive clause. So our right option will be he is such a nice boy as is liked by all teachers. Because here we are not respecting, we are actually drawing a comparison. हम उसकी मिसाल दे रहे हैं कि वो भी ऐसा ही लड़का है कैसा जैसे सारे टीचर्स को पसंद आते हैं. So here we will use as and not that. Let's take another example. He was looking such a dandy that आपके टेक्स्ट की लाइन है that Tongawalas catching a sight of him from a distance webbed their horses to reach him. Now here we are not comparing him, we are telling him कि वो इतना शानदार लग रहा था. कितना? That. Now it is explaining the fact कि इतना शानदार लग रहा था कि तांगे वाले दूरी से उसे देखते थे तो अपने घोड़े फटाफट दौड़ाते हुए जो है वो उसके पास पहुंच जाते थे. So this is how you manage these combinations. We'll discuss about some more combinations in the next lecture.